Not every character in For Honor is in the top tier, but even those who aren't can put up a good fight. Today we're going to watch some duels from the perspective of the Berserker, and we're going up against a Warden. Let's get started. And here we go. As Season 5 is coming to an end, I can imagine a lot of Warden players are waiting anxiously for news about a rework. But until that happens, they'll be riding on the struggle bus, but even so, they've got decent tools at their disposal, and I'll be damned if I don't get my ass kicked by Wardens from time to time. So let's see how this one fares. Sending out a top light into a shoulder bash, but we're going to dodge out of the way and guard break. And we could have gone for a dodge attack, which is a much safer option to a degree, but we opted for the biggest possible punish against the Warden. The thing we're going to have to pay close attention to is how this Warden mixes up his shoulder bashes. For now, he's just throwing them out wild, and we're catching him very easily because of that. But in the coming rounds, I imagine he's going to change up his game plan because he's realized that this is not going to work for him. Now, what makes the shoulder bash such an interesting tool for me is the fact that it can be feinted into so many different things. So the Warden has established that he's just using the shoulder bash for now. But as soon as he starts feinting into guard breaks or canceling the shoulder bash altogether, it's going to add an extra layer that I have to think about in every moment of combat. So moving into the second round, we've got to pay close attention to how he responds and reacts to things. Hit with that top light into a shoulder bash again, the Warden taking an early advantage on us. Top heavy coming to the face, he feinted it and landed the parry on the heavy attack that we were trying to throw out, and we're out of stamina. This is always a dangerous place to be against the Warden. We could have attempted to just turn tail and walk away to avoid the shoulder bash, but we didn't do so in time. We're getting chopped to hell. We're going to have a long way to go if we want to make any sort of comeback. The Warden did run himself out of stamina, not falling for our mix-ups. We did catch him with the guard break, but we don't have nearly enough stamina to make anything happen. So that's going to put a nail in our coffin. That was a rough way to go. We got absolutely brutalized as soon as we ran out of stamina. The Warden started sniffing blood and he went for it. We didn't dodge out of the way of the first two shoulder bashes, maybe trying to discern a pattern, but by the time we figured out what was happening, it was pretty much too late and the deal was sealed. Stamina control is without a doubt the most difficult thing to come to terms with on the Berserker because attacking, like I always say, it's so much fun. The axes are very satisfying, but you gotta take that breath, let your stamina recharge, especially when you're fighting a character like the Warden, or even worse, the Conqueror. Now, we are starting to see a mix-up from the shoulder bash. That one got feinted, the previous two got canceled into guard breaks, and our dodge attack beat it. But now that extra layer of combat is coming in, and unfortunately we had a top-heavy unblockable coming out, but it got feinted. And that right there is another one of the challenges for the Berserker. You do have uninterruptible armor on basically all of your attacks, but you have to use it at the correct time. You've got to make those reads. Another thing, we made a little bit of a mistake there. We tried to bait out the top light attack, the crushing counter strike from the Warden, but our timing was a little bit off and we got boinked on the top of the head. We've got to be more careful if we try to do a maneuver like that. Starting off very aggressive with a forward dashing heavy attack, the Warden attempting to crush and counter on the light attack timing, so he got hit for a nice amount of damage. We're taking an early lead, and we definitely need it because the score is 1-2. If we lose this one, we're walking away with our tail between our legs and a very sad defeat. And the Warden keeps boinking us on the top of the head with that top light and following up with shoulder bashes or shoulder bashes feinted into the guard break. He is going to catch us that time, but we did manage to get a lot of punishment throughout the round, and we're going to finish it off with a top heavy. He tried to crush and counter on the light attack timing, and he got caught. Whew. So that one could have gone either way, but the Warden definitely made a mistake in being a bit too repetitive. That shoulder bash canceled into a guard break so many times, wound up chipping his health away, and eventually led to his demise. So the final round, both of us, we have a decent idea of how we're going to play. Using the top heavy feinted to bait out the crushing counter strike response, we got the deflect successfully, but we followed up with a throw and didn't hit him against any walls. So we didn't get any punishment for our efforts, and that's very disappointing. That would have given us a big health lead, and we absolutely need it because the Warden, if we run out of stamina, he will apply that pressure. We saw that in the previous rounds. We've got to be very careful about that. Now, it might appear that we're swinging a bit wild, but we are being careful to make sure our stamina doesn't drop too low. The Warden parrying our heavy attack, but it's not going to tap us out, so that means we are doing a good job of managing our stamina. We tried to bait out that crushing counter-strike again. The Warden delayed it a bit, so we powered through with the armor. A zone attack going to run us out of stamina. Thank goodness that did not get parried. We just need one more hit to finish him off, and one heavy attack from the Warden would finish us off as well. He's going to go for that shoulder bash, canceled into a guard break, and our dodge attack going to mitigate that mix-up. Overall, pretty solid play from that final round, but there were plenty of mistakes that were made. After successfully baiting out the crushing counter-strike from the Warden, we got the deflect guard break, but we threw him and he didn't collide with anything. We tried to bait out the crushing counter-strike a second time, but the counter got delayed, so we dashed forward and used our uninterruptible armor to trade some damage instead. We're going to move into another match against the same Warden, so let's find out if he can make a better showing for himself. He did well, but there's always room for improvement on both parties, especially for him because he lost the last round. Let's see if the Warden can pull out a victory. It's always nice to see an underdog character take the win, and right away he's starting off with that top light, boinking us on the head and going for a shoulder bash. Starting off at a little deficit, the Warden has the health advantage. He feinted that shoulder bash but missed the parry attempt, so this is a dangerous game we're playing right now. We're going to have to be much more careful about how we respond to these shoulder bashes as they come out. Now, this round is very quiet. It feels a little bit more tactical than the previous rounds. I'm not sure if it's the map, maybe the snow is making me feel a little bit tranquil, but we are taking a very methodical, patient approach to this, making sure we don't run out of stamina, and hopefully being careful about how we respond to those shoulder bashes. It's always a bit scary, and using the armor to charge through the Warden's top light once again. Now keep in mind, we've got the Warden a little bit spooked as to whether or not he should go for crushing counter-strikes. We're doing a lot of stuff from the top, and in the previous round we baited those out several times. We messed it up a couple times as well, but he doesn't want to get hit with that punishment again. Going into round two, the Warden throwing out that top light. We tried to deflect it there, but our timing was off, so we still got boinked in the head. He canceled his shoulder bash, successfully parrying our dodge attack. The top heavy from the Warden is one of the hardest hitting attacks in the game. You can block it no problem, you can parry it with ease because it's pretty slow, but if you mess up, you're going to get absolutely destroyed, and we're going to get taken down with the quickness in that round, all because of a few simple mistakes. And we'll see it right here again. The Warden hitting us with that shoulder bash, canceling the second one, expertly parrying our attack, then boom, 50% of our remaining health getting taken away. With every fight in For Honor, you get more and more of an advantage over the person you're fighting as you learn their patterns, and the Warden is definitely learning our patterns. This time, he went for a shoulder bash, didn't bother to cancel it, but he could be willing to take that damage trade so he can set up a little bit of a mind game, because now in the subsequent shoulder bashes, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Is he going to commit? Is he going to cancel? Is he going to go for that guard break? The second one coming out, he let it fly. The tension is building, and this time it's going to get canceled, and he parried our dodge attack again and finished us off with a zone. It's very funny to watch the Warden set up their mind games throughout the round and successfully get the payoff in the end. It's very beautiful to watch, although it can be frustrating to get caught in someone else's mind game from time to time. So moving into round number 4, the Warden is on match point. We're trying to bait out his top light attack, but he's not flinching, he's not falling for any of our shenanigans, and he parried our dodge attack. We're already at a huge deficit. This time we are going to bait out the crushing counter strike and landed the deflect and the punish, closing the gap between our health, maybe even giving ourselves a slight advantage. Manipulating distance a little bit, and the uninterruptible stance on the Berserker. That is one of my favorite things to do. Start off with a dodge attack from out of range to activate that armor, then start swinging for the fences, hoping your opponent walks into it. Now this was a textbook round for us as the Berserker. We got the bait on the top light attack and followed up with a massive combo. That top heavy unblockable got canceled into a side heavy, and then we made excellent use of the uninterruptible stance on our attacks, pressing the advantage, swinging wild but also under control, getting the execution for the finish. So the score is 2-2. Once again, both of us seem to be on a pretty even level as far as skill is concerned. The Warden at a slight disadvantage because his character definitely not as powerful as the Berserker, but he's proving to be very proficient at manipulating the kit, getting the correct punishes when he can. We're trying desperately to close the gap, but every time we get boinked on the head by that top light, it becomes that much more difficult. The Warden finally fully charging the shoulder bash, but it looks like his input was a little bit off, so he did not get the top heavy punish. And our top heavy also connected with him as he was sending out that shoulder bash. And we're going to get finished off by a zone attack. That thing, it may only be 500 milliseconds, but it feels like it is lightning quick sometimes. So that round is going to go to the Warden as well as the second match. So we had some good times and we had some bad times, charging through top light attacks with our uninterruptible stance, swinging for the fences, getting some big damage in return. But the Warden had plenty of highlights as well. So there you have it, folks. Despite the fact that this matchup heavily favored the Berserker, the Warden was able to pull out on top by using the mix-ups that were at his disposal with his shoulder bash, and overall just playing well. So, with all of that said, the name of the game, come on, is For Honor. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you could add one thing to the Warden, just one thing to improve his playstyle and his kit, what would it be? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.